Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. I did say we would be back today, and we are. It's 11:39. I'm actually more to my normal schedule, uh, but I'm gonna talk for a bit and let people come in before I get started because I have something to show you that can only be described as a real doozy. I mean, a real doozy of a bit of a news that you should see. And I want to make sure that people see it and are aware of it as much as I possibly can, although not all tonight. You know what I mean? Um, we're coming up to a week already since the gigantic series of California of earthquakes that rocked California. And you might think because it hasn't dominated the news as much as it did as recently as 3 days ago, that all is well, all is hunky dory, all is fine, right? Uh, if you thought that, it would be understanding that you might get that impression, because I did. But I am here to tell you, folks, nothing is hunky dory. Nothing is okay. Nothing is all right now. It's on the precipice, folks. There is an aftershock in that area every 4 minutes. You heard me. Every 4 minutes, okay? Every 4 minutes. This thing's going off like a pinball. Talking about the area around Ridge, California, at varying degrees. Some of them you can't much feel, 2. Some of them 3. Some of them 4. A bunch of them over 4. It's scary what's happening down there. There's a guy who has a live view. He's had his live stream on since July 6th. Uh, he claims that experts are looking out for an 8.5 on the Richter scale earthquake. They say it's likely. Didn't say it's going to happen, but it's likely. We've heard, oh, there's a 10% chance there'll be another 7 down there. And if it happens because of the way the fault lines and land run, guess who gets impacted? Not San Diego. San Diego didn't feel a thing. Seriously. Las Vegas. Las Vegas. Okay? So, this is some really bad, tough stuff. All right? And we have to talk about what the possible outcome of this is going to be, how we got here, right? And what are the possible scenarios if it comes to pass that Las Vegas Stadium is not finishable? Okay, under what conditions could it happen that such a situation arises? Well, the obvious one is a stadium. Something happens where the stadium has repairs that take longer that are substantial. Let's say some of the truss segments fall down. If they fall down, they hit seat segments. If you hit the seat segments, you cause a lot of damage. You don't want that happening during construction. That means loss of life right there. You don't want that happening. So this should be considered, Las Vegas Stadium should be considered a hazardous zone. It should be considered a hazardous zone to be in. Again, it should be considered a hazardous zone. You hear what I'm saying? A hazardous zone. This is what we saw today. You're not going to get this anywhere else, folks. All right? This is what we saw today. Look at this, all right? This is right now, I'm going to say, about to say, you are looking live on not sold out yet, Las Vegas Stadium. Bam, there it is, okay? Here, okay, look at this. This is right now at 8:43 in the evening. Take a look, by the way. They've got this truss hanging in the air. right over here, right? Let's try and work on the other side, but still here and here. All right, still a long way to go there. My point is that this is the stadium. This is a hazard zone with the cranes in the air that they had to take down, and now they've built up again. They've made considerable progress with the trusses because you see what? You see this? You have this over here, and they're working on building it. And eventually that will go over here. But they have to finish strengthening. Wish I could get around the other way. See, this camera angle doesn't tell you the whole story at all. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Let's take view 1 here. See what that gets us. No better. It's a bit, the resolution's a bit more pronounced. And how the crane is holding that in place, okay? As well as all the work yet to be done in here. So, hey, John. How are you? This is a close-up of the I-15 side of the stadium. Okay. This is, see how the truss, this is where they build them before they get hoisted, all right? So their boneyard there, okay? Let's take a look at the north view. Yeah, all right. You see that? It's being held in place there, so they're working on that truss. But they have to complete the enclosure coming around, all right? Yeah, this move was not turning out to be as smooth as they wanted. Hey, Jose, how are you? How are you, Jose? How are you? Yeah, so anyway, here is the real story. Right here. Live view. This is the guy. His name is Stevie Pax, the real Pax. He's had this stream running since July 6th, all right? Live view experts, 8.5 earthquake is likely in California, okay? He's been running this thing, all right? Look at that. Just counting the tremors and earthquakes there. Every 4 minutes, there's something going on. Every 4 minutes. Every 4 minutes. And then look at this. The latest quakes. Look at all their. This is all the latest quakes, concentrated just in California. Have doubts? This is from the U.S. Geological Survey. See that? See that? Look at that. Look at that. Whole United States, whole world. Okay, look at that. Or most of the whole world. So let's zoom back in. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Thank you, Jose. And these two are red. See, take a look at these two are in red. This one, it was, let's see. And this one, there's red. Those are the largest, okay? So let's do a little work here. Take a look at our interactive map, or maybe our regional information map, yeah? Okay. There's Las Vegas, there's the area. You see how close they are? This is a 3-hour drive. And that area is on fire, folks. To this day, it is on fire. On fire. On fire. On fire. and on fire. Okay, on fire. So, um, you ask me. Let me get the pop up so I can read your comments there. Because you were asking me some questions. We're about to. And John Akala says, will the Raiders, you think, wait until the April 1st deadline to opt in or out, or they're leased with the Coliseum? Yeah, they'll wait. Hey, Cowboy Wrestler. Yeah, they'll wait. It's the Raiders' styles to wait, unless barring the obvious, which is, hey, we can't play in the stadium next year. Barring that obvious situation, the Raiders will string this out for as long as they can. That's what the Raiders do. Trying to get leverage, okay? Trying to get leverage. That's what the Raiders do. But my point here is that the Raiders are going to be. I'm going to make a straight out prediction. I don't like doing this, but I'm going to tell you what. There's going to be another one of these. I don't know how big, and it's going to push the Raiders to make a decision about the future of the team down there. Okay, and I'm not making this prediction with the idea that I'm right. I'm making it reluctantly because this is a situation that involves a potential loss of life. You don't want that. But again, you have to consider Las Vegas Stadium to be an active hazardous zone. Given the fact that it is a few hours away, 2.5 to 3 hours away from what was the epicenter of two major earthquakes, and not only is earmarked for another one, but is producing active tremors of various magnitudes every 4 minutes as we speak. Every 4 minutes. That doesn't scare you. Scares me. Scares me. Scares me. Cowboy Wrestler says, Z. Yes, the Raiders will wait until the last minute to exercise the 2020 option. Probably a week before the deadline. I agree. Like I said, it's the Raider way. It's the Raider way. But we have not seen the worst of this. We haven't seen the worst of this financially because if you know anything about stadium construction, when you have a situation where you have to make compensation for schedule, where you have to make changes in material delivery, what does that mean? It means change order. What does change order mean? Cha-ching! Money. That's what it means, okay? The Stadium Authority meeting is next week. Watch the website of the Las Vegas Stadium Authority to see how much information is put into the next agenda. In fact, having said that, let's take a look at it now. LV StadiumAuthority.com, all one word. Starts talking about personal seat license information if you want to buy one. They're still selling them, it looks like. All right, meeting details for July 18th, agenda, minutes, nothing. They've got nothing on there, okay? Nothing. But you know what? Come Monday, that bad boy should start filling up with news. First of all, with the agenda, and then the summary agenda from the last meeting, and then pertinent information. For example, the stadium progress reports, all right, and the contractors reports. Look for those, and then look for anything special, like for example, the possibility that new liens may be filed. I'm not saying this is the case. I'm simply saying look out for them. Look out for reports on the ongoing cost dispute between TAB Construction and the Las Vegas Stadium Authority and the Oakland Raiders and Mortensen McCarthy. TAB blew up the caliche, well, most of it, in the ground. Did they get paid enough? They say no. They know a lot. They talk a lot. So, into that soup of possible information outcomes has to come a report. They've got to give a report. They should give a report. They should mention in detail, not in passing, in detail, where the stadium situation is after the earthquake. If that is not done, it should be considered a crime. I'm telling you, it should be considered a crime. All right? Because you and I both know that you cannot have a situation where all that ground was shaking and all that ground is still shaking. And, you don't know how much of that is actually reaching the foundation underneath and what it's doing under there. The public has a right to know. You're talking about the public and a publicly owned, publicly subsidized, gigantic facility. And you tell me you're going to withhold information from the public? Is that right? Of course it's not right. It's doggone dang wrong. Period. That's right, I said doggone dang wrong. Doggone dang diggy dong dang dong wrong. Period. No matter how you say it, it's wrong, folks. Just plain wrong, okay? Wrong. And I'll say again, wrong. Wow. Phew. Something else here, all right? More earthquake updates related to that. Earthquake. Cowboy says, is Inglewood built to withstand an earthquake? Yes, it is, Cowboy Rush, so that's why it's costing $5 billion. That is why it costs $5 billion, specifically, okay? In fact, we had that conversation the other night. Did you forget, Cowboy Wrestler? What's going on? You slipping on me? Huh? Are you slipping on me? Listen to this. Today is Wednesday, right? Today is Wednesday, right? Listen to this. Let's tell you about all these earthquakes. What does that say? Oh, Cowboy Wrestler, I understand. Just busting your balls, well, so to speak. Earthquake 4.5 quake hits north of Ridgecrest. A magnitude 4.5 was reported Wednesday afternoon at 5:14 p.m. Pacific, 10 miles from Ochinala, according to United States Geological Survey. Let's and then look at this. Look at this. All right. No, it's not, John. It's too far away. Look at this. Two SoCal earthquakes warped the ground for miles, and it's visible. Let's take. Hold on a second. Let's take one. Look at this. Look at this. This is scary stuff. I'm sorry. This is scary stuff. Okay. This is scary stuff. Okay. It's right there. Then it says a magnitude 4.5 earthquake was reported Wednesday, today, afternoon at 5:14 p.m., which is, you know what? Look. 5:14 p.m. is 8:14 p.m. out here, okay? So, 5:14 p.m. Pacific, 10 miles from Olencha, California, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The earthquake occurred 39 miles from Ridgecrest, California, 63 miles from Porterville, California, and 67 miles from Lindsay. In the past 10 days, there have been 608 earthquakes of magnitude 3.0 or greater centered nearby. Are you fucking kidding me? 608 earthquakes of magnitude 3 or greater. Hey, Barry Lee. 608 earthquakes in the past 10 days. Folks, that's 60.8 earthquakes a day over 3 on the Richter scale. Do you understand that? That's 60.8 earthquakes a day. That's basically, over 2 an hour. 608 earthquakes. John Akala writes, that's crazy. Absolutely. So you meant to tell me in the middle of this that they think everything is okay and there's no type of special preparation made regarding the stadium? There's no adjustments, nothing? That's ridiculous. Okay? In the past 10 days, 608 earthquakes, a magnitude 3 or greater. And so someone has to ask the question. to what degree, even if it's a tiny bit, was the foundation and the land around under Las Vegas Stadium Authority Stadium impacted? It's a simple question. No, it didn't, but it was finished. Right, that's the thing, okay? First of all, there's two problems here. First of all, unlike, and I talked about this last night, unlike LA Stadium, which was designed and then upgraded to withstand a gigantic earthquake, this structure wasn't. Don't take this stuff lightly, folks. There's been a lot of, we're going to take this lightly, or we're going to slough this off because it's not important kind of rhetoric. All right, that's going to catch up. I'm telling you that cavalier attitude is going to catch up. Time to knock it off and get serious. If you think that this thing was felt in Las Vegas, you can bet your bippies somebody in Vegas is feeling these too to a lesser degree. And you can bet your bippies that this is affecting the stadium. Talk about it. All right, my point is, the Las Vegas Stadium Authority will have a special report on this stuff. If they don't have a special report on this for the meeting next week, they need to be fired. You hear me? Top to bottom. I don't care. Steve, everybody, Jeremy, out, start all over again, fire them. Don Webb, fire them all, and get a new staff that's sensitive to this stuff, that's not hiding information, trying to make everything look good. Give us the unvarnished truth. What the heck is going on? And what are you doing to prepare for it? This is ridiculous. And you know what? If you ask me, you might think that my being, upset is uncalled for and everything. As far as I'm concerned, the fact that the Las Vegas Stadium Authority people aren't upset is uncalled for. What the heck is going on? I have never seen a project like this, ever. You know what? When I tried to bring Super Bowl to Oakland, I got Sanjeev Honda in, who is a known whistleblower, and I said, Sanjeev, if I'm doing something wrong, I want you to tell me. If there is a problem, I want you to tell me. All right? I want you to tell us. Come to the committee meetings, let us know what's happening, and you have a seat right next to me to let me know. I didn't hire Jack, man. I didn't hire anything. I'm proud of what I did. We didn't get the Super Bowl, but I'm very proud of what I did. And would have made the Raiders $3 million, too. That is a substantial earthquake. No two ways about it. That is a substantial earthquake. It just is. That's a big one. 608. 608 earthquakes. 608. Get more of your comments. I mean, that's boggling my mind, okay? It really is. It's like, okay. Let me read your comments. Cowboy says, Z, where did that happen? Is nowhere near the San Andreas. Nope. And not only that, they didn't even know those faults were there until the thing broke. Barry Lee says, are they still expecting another quake over 6.9? Yeah, it's like a 10% chance, 5 to 10% chance. Cowboy says, what a blanking disaster. And then he says, there are a lot of things about California I miss, but the one thing I do not miss is our earthquakes. Been through too many of them. Hey, Juan Ramirez. Hey, Ron, how you doing? Juan asks, what type of insurance coverage will the stadium require to have for earthquake coverage? Well, that's standard. I mean, it's standard built into any stadium that the possibility of a tremor of some type or an act of war or anything else can destroy it. So that's built in. You don't have a situation where the stadium does not have earthquake insurance. Okay, that's unheard of. So you don't have that problem. But the problem you do have is the degree to which the stadium would be damaged because of a tremor of X size. And the question is, how large does that tremor have to be? Does it have to be 3 on the Richter scale? Does it have to be 4? And then what happens at that point? And then not only that, the big enchilada question for me is this. It is, did Mortensen McCarthy build a simulation model of the stadium and run it through a scenario, an earthquake testing scenario? In other words, did they mathematically test it for a 3 on the Richter scale, a 4 on the Richter scale, a 5, a 6? You see what I'm getting at? Or did they do it for a 2 or 2.7? Or did they take the attitude that, hey, you know what, this isn't likely to happen, and so therefore we're not going to test it? Kind of like they said it wasn't likely it's going to rain, right? All right. You test for everything when you're building a stadium of that size and cost and magnitude. Whew. So that's the magic question. Are those simulations out there? And if they're not, what the heck are you doing? John Collins says, I read that scientists say these earthquake tremors can go on for months and even years. Yeah. Juan Ramirez says, yeah, Barry Lee, was a 1% chance of a higher than 7.1 in the next couple of days. That's 2. Wow. Wow. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that at all. Let me see who else has a comment here. Welcome to Zenny62, by the way. We've got, Jose said, the Oakland Coliseum did not have any visible damage at all in the 89 Bay earthquake. Correct. Pedro Gallardo said, I felt 3 earthquakes since, and I'm out in Fresno. Whoa. Juan Ramirez says, still can feel aftershocks here. They might be minor, but it still leaves us on edge. Jeez. Juan Ramirez just has added, after the 6.4 earthquake on the 4th of July, a 5% chance was placed for a larger earthquake, which was the following day of 7.1. So in other words, what Juan is saying is, hey, look, it may sound way outside the realm of possibility that this happened, but they said that last Thursday, and lo and behold, it did happen. Gotcha. Cowboy says, Sarah Dunshee from KCAL TV in LA, who's a SoCal native, says she's never felt an earthquake like that. What she said right there should open everybody's eyes. Yep. Cowboy Wrestler writes, Fresno, my God. Barry Lee says, did you see on ABC the other day a reporter was standing at where one of the faults had been ripped open as far as the eye could see? No, I didn't see that. I gotta see that. I got some more homework to do because, folks, I didn't know this earthquake happened until in the middle. I'm talking about the 4.5 that made itself known at 5:14. I didn't know that happened until while we were doing this. This is scary stuff. I mean, I knew, something told me, hey, you know what? You need to follow up on that earthquake situation because it's too quickly forgotten in Las Vegas, it seems. And people need a reminder. And so look what I found. That's the Lord. The Lord was like, hey, you know what? Dude, you need to look at this. It's on ABC YouTube channel. Okay. Let me see here. ABC YouTube earthquake. By the way, folks, Comic-Con next week. Lining up some great interviews. All right. Let's see here. And you said it was a tremor? No. Fault line? Fault line, okay. Residents trying to recover from 2 earthquakes. And I don't want to play the video with the voice because that would be a copyright claim, all right? Like that, boom. So I'm gonna wait until, let me see if I can fast forward rather than waiting. Oh boy. I think I found it. Hold on a second, folks. I think I found it, Barry Lee. I found it. Hold on a second. Look at this. Okay, this is what you're talking about, Barry Lee? Is that it? Is this it? Let me see if I can. I'm gonna need this one. Hold on a second. Okay.
Start the landscape. Look at this. There is a crack that stretches through the desert for as far as the eye can see. And tonight, there's concern that another earthquake could happen at any time.
Through the desert? Wait a second.
Hey, look at this.
Trona, California. That's where they had the people buried. Trona, California.
Try to recover from two powerful earthquakes, including the one that happened on Friday. And that severe shaking scarred the landscape. Look at this. There is a crack that stretches through the desert for as far as the eye can see. And tonight, there's concern that another earthquake could happen at any time.
Yeah, Pedro, I am saying that. I'm saying that they didn't build that to withstand an earthquake, and they kept ignoring the issue, and I brought it up. And it was like they just, found this property without really doing any truly good due diligence to say, hey, look, there's an active fault there. And it's in a flood zone as well. I point out the stadium is in a flood zone. It's called a 100-year flood zone. And someone says, well, 100 years means it doesn't happen a lot. I said, no, 100 years means that when it floods, all right? So you have to have the proper drainage. And then, bing, right down the block is an active fault line that stretches 13 miles. It's called the Decatur, okay? And guess what? I pointed this out the other day. Some of you saw that. That the news organization, News 3 Las Vegas, did a segment. They talked about the Decatur Fault, but they didn't reveal that it's actually near the stadium. How about that? Okay? They rushed to build without proper research, was what Barry Lee just wrote. Absolutely right. Horrifying stuff, okay? And Juan Mir said you pointed out about a year ago. I did. Remember how much grief I got? Like, they started making fun of me and everything, all right? Oh, Zinni is wrong again. I'm not trying to be right. Look, as Mr. Spock said on Star Trek, even on this side of the galaxy, 2 + 2 = 4. If you got a situation where you're trying to build near an active fault and it's just a freaking block and a half away, you know you're courting disaster. And then when you have an earthquake that occurs 3 hours away and everybody can feel it, your first thought should be, hey, does that mean it's going to trigger that fault? Duh. I mean, this isn't playtime stuff. This is serious business. You know? I'm not concerned about being right. It's not a matter of being right. It's a matter of you know what it is a matter of? It's a matter of straightening shit out. Do your homework. That's what this is about. It's about doing your freaking homework when you build facilities. That's what it's about. Okay? Jeez Louise. Believe this stuff. Man. Yeah, thanks. See, John Acosta says, earthquake in 89 was a 6.9 magnitude. Yeah, that's correct, it was. Cowboy says, John Acosta, yeah, it happened. I was in it. Jerry Lee says, you're not trying to be right, it's about facts. Yeah, everything that I pointed out is stuff that's just right in our face. Oh, hey, folks, you know what? There's a fault down there. It's active. It's called the Decatur, right? Okay? I didn't make that up. It was sitting there. It's kind of like, wait, what's the matter with you? So what do you mean what's the matter with me? You're what's the matter with me. You're an earthquake fault. That's what's the matter with me, and you're active. Yeah, so? Well, you're kind of like, in the middle of a stadium. Well, so I was here first. Okay? That's what the Decatur fault would say if it could talk. That's what the Decatur fault would say if it could talk. I was here first. Yeah. And see, you know what? Why do you think, think about it. Richard Carson, Richard says, well, just hope and pray the stadiums are full of people when an earthquake hits. Absolutely. That's it. Or how about this? How about hope and pray that they sort of just delay the thing add an extra billion on it to make sure that's really can withstand an earthquake, like they did in LA. How about that? You know, Barry Lee says money was the priority, not research. That's right. How about that? How about just like stopping this and saying, you know what, we got a crisis here, and we need to take we need to take off the rose-colored glasses and take a solid look at this and act. Caliber says 2.7 magnitude earthquake in Venus, Texas, south of Dallas. No, that's what they have to do. They have to stop and act. Speaking of which, folks, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop this one. I want to do some more research on this quake situation. You know, also I want to find. You know what I want to find? Richard Carson says they won't. They're just pushing the finish for money, more important than safety. You know what this feels like? I mean, no pun intended. You remember did anyone ever, maybe, okay, Doug Davis says those casinos have to be built for quakes. But Doug, you know what? You're talking about, I was waiting, whoa, stop the presses. I was dying for somebody to bring this up. Thank you. Because I've been laying in wait in the weeds, waiting to pop a cap in someone's ass about this. First of all, you're talking about a different structure, okay? You're not talking about what is essentially a bridge, a device that is, in terms of a stadium, that is designed by its nature to support people and has a roof system that overhangs, and is designed to overhang over people when it's domed, and it's designed to carry many thousands of people at once in a stadium cheering. What's the significance of that? It's called this. If you ever had physics, you should know this. It's called simple harmonic motion. What is simple harmonic motion? It's this. What happens when you hit something and it vibrates? Do this, like this. See this? See that? All right, you can calculate this harmonic motion just like this. There's a formula for this. And the degree to which that shake propagates through my arm and through my shoulder. You can do this for the ground. You can do this for anything. Simple harmonic motion. And what's the significance of it? What is simple harmonic motion? It's a dang trimmer, dude. That's what it is. Okay? So when you're building that, and you're building a solid hotel structure, like a building like that, all right? It's sticking up like that. It's better designed to withstand harmonic motion vibration than a stadium, which is, and in the specific case of the Raiders Stadium, you got a number of cases. If you think about the seats are like bridges, because you're walking. You have to walk over the structure that holds the people up in the air, all right? And they sit down. They have to walk off of it. You ever see people do the wave, right? Every time I see that done in a stadium like the Coliseum is fine. But in a stadium where it's metal and you can feel the shaking, that's scary stuff, man. That's harmonic motion in action. Because if it's not correctly designed, it could, in the worst case, rattle itself apart. Cowboy, you get it? You get it, Doug Davis? Thank you. Like I said, I've been waiting in the weeds for a long time to pop a cap in somebody's ass about that one. Thank you. Cowboy Rush says, Z, the scariest moment of my life was, and I mean that, I just, I'm just loving it. I was like, wait, it's like somebody asked me about that. Yes. Cowboy Rush says, Z, the scariest moment of my life was the Loma Prieta earthquake. I was in San Francisco at my friend's house watching the World Series. It was truly terrifying. Bancroft, I was on Bancroft headed to BART. The street rolled up. I was like, whoa, okay. Yeah, it was a terrifying night. Pedro Gallardo, how you doing? Pedro says, Raiders should stop rushing to play in Vegas in 2020 and take the time to build it right. Amen. Doug Davis says, geez, I was just thinking they had to consider that. Right, but here's the point, Doug. And I said this earlier this week. I've said it before on this program. Every time I have a chance to, After the Challenger incident in 1986, I have never, ever, and I was in architecture school when that happened. I was in city planning school at Berkeley when that happened. I remember specifically where I was. I was walking from Worcester Hall. Cowboy Russ is ready to do it right now. I was walking from Worcester Hall downhill toward Bancroft Avenue in College, where we used to call Cafe Roma, and now some people call it, now Cafe Strada exists unless they've changed the name lately. And I was in the middle of that walk when someone announced the Challenger blew up. That's where I was. And I remember having this just numbing feeling in my bones. Like, like I was personally affected. And I was. Because I grew up with the idea that absent the fire, the Apollo 11 fire and some other maladies, right? A few, by and large, our space program was solid. And it was the linchpin example of American technical ingenuity, right? And excellence, and engineering excellence, okay? That's the way I grew up. I grew up with the idea, oh, they've got to know what they're doing. Barry Lee says the Challenger disaster is a prime example of money talks, safety walks. Exactly. And if you have a chance, folks, those of you who haven't been able to do so, read the report from the Challenger Commission and the words of the late Professor Richard Heyman, all right? Now, my point is that after that, I began to question everything when it had to do with structures. Because in the case of the Challenger, Morton Thiokol's O-rings, which hold together the outer fuel assembly, when they went up and got to a certain level of temperature that was below freezing, guess what? They went brittle. And that caused a chain reaction, which caused the fuel to be ignited, led to this plume of smoke, and then, okay? Bad O-rings in the cold. That's right, Mr. Davis. Bad O-rings in the cold. All right? So my point is, you don't take any little thing for granted. And in this particular project, there has been too much of taking things for granted, laughing stuff off, trying to shut down the messenger. All right? Not good. Not good. Not good. Okay? So, this thing's got to be gotten right. No question about it. John Collins says, just curious how come there wasn't as much damage from this earthquake as there was in the 89 one, even though this one was just as strong? Is it because of the epicenter occurred? Yeah. And my mom raised the same question. Yeah, because it was in the middle of an urban area. It was near an urban area, excuse me. Not only that, it was 60 miles. The epicenter was 60 miles from the Bay Area. Whereas Las Vegas is 3 hours away. Imagine if Las Vegas had been 60 miles. That's an hour drive. So the damage would have been, considerably worse by miles. All right? So, look, a bullet was dodged. But this should be the wake-up call that is necessary. I mean, hey, look, I'm going to Comic-Con in San Diego. I'm thinking, ugh. But you know what? I'm a Californian. I'm also kind of used to that. My thought is, if there are that many active tremors in that area, which is far away from San Diego, so from that perspective, I'm cool. 608 earthquakes over the past 10 days, that means it's far more likely something's going to happen there than while I'm, enjoying the Marvel Studio panel at Hall H a week from Saturday. Hint. Subscribe to Zenny62 if you haven't. And so, Pedro Gallardo says, any guess how much it would cost if an earthquake hit Las Vegas Stadium when finished? It would be sad if the Raiders' new stadium breaks after a year or two. Oh, gosh. Replacement cost new, I think you're looking at, I'm going to ballpark at about $2.7 billion. All right? Because you have to account for excavation, rebuild, There may be parts of the stadium so significantly damaged you can't use them. You have to start all over again. So I'll say 2.7 billion. You're talking about the stadium alone. Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Man. That's never happened in the NFL history either. And I hope it never does. Okay? But this is the time when we need to stop playing around and make sure the thing's done right. And stop treating this like it's Democrat versus Republican. You know? Oh, those Democrats want to stop. You know, come on. Actually, Democrats voted for it. Okay. Jew says, who felt the earthquake just now? Don't know. You tell us. Don't know where you are. You're new to this channel. Have no idea. Tell you what. Send us a video right now that you made on your channel, and I can re-show it, right? That's the best way to do that. All right. So, oh, Cowboy Rush says, what's the name of the one that blew up in 02 and 03? That was that space shuttle. That was Endeavour. That was Endeavour. That was Endeavour. Yeah. And that's the other thing, Cowboy Wrestler. I'm glad you brought that up. This didn't happen once with Challenger. It happened twice. It happened twice. Okay? And when it happened the second time, I was numb. I thought, really? No. Doug Davis says, actually the Coliseum in LA broke during the Northwich Carry of the 90s. Okay. Hey, yeah, that's right. Thank you for that reminder, Doug Davis. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Osmond does 714. I don't care. I haven't felt it. I'm here in Orange County. You're lucky. Because I have a friend who's in Orange County who did feel it. So, you know, maybe you're like me. I've slept through earthquakes. You know? Cowboy says NASA equals never a straight answer. You could almost say that about the Stadium Authority, all right? Las Vegas Stadium Authority, never a straight answer. Barry Lee says, in buildings at the bottom of them, in earthquake zones, they have these big bumper-like rings designed to absorb the shaking. Can't they do that with Vegas Stadium? Yeah, they can do that. They can. But they haven't. You know, it's not, designed that way. They designed this with the idea that a lot of stuff that has been happening wasn't going to happen. That's the problem. All right, folks. I'm going to sign off here with 50 minutes, 2 minutes. I will be back tomorrow. Remember, San Diego Comic-Con coming up. I'm going to do another special video right after this one with more news about my, 9th year of coverage of San Diego Comic-Con. Good night, everybody. Remember, keep your eyes open and don't fear to question. Good night. Thank you. Thank you all for watching. Share this one. Spread this around. Put this on Raider message boards. Put it all over the place. Make them watch it. Make them know. Tell them. See you guys.